The first program we have, it's the keynote speech. I will just share my screen and then present to you. Yeah, I was supposed to present the keynote speaker. He'll be talking on transforming science leadership in Africa, and then he will be emphasizing on the role of integrity. And speaker is Mr. Daniel Kamanga. He's the founder and executive director of the African Leadership Transformation Foundation, or ALT. It's called abbreviation. This organization he has built has the vision to create 1 million leaders in 10 African countries within 10 years. Not sure how many years they have gone through now, but that is the vision. Mr. Daniel is passionate about exploring new models of leadership that address Africa's failures in leadership. And from that perspective, there is a crossing of what he's doing and what we are doing. He's a recipient of the 2024 Humanity Flourishing Prize, which was given to him for his work in transformation and leadership training. He has experience in Africa's private sector, including media, telecoms, and finance, as well as development sectors, microfinance and agriculture. He was part of a $21 million project funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which brought together national research organizations from several African countries. He's co-editor of Biotechnology in Africa, Emergency Initiatives in the Future. He also has written a book in recent years titled Make a Plan or Get Lost, Personal Planning for Your 20s. He's a Kenyan by origin, but he lives in South Africa. On the personal note, I see him as a big brother, a senior brother, a father figure. And for many of you who are here, his association with ASFI outdate many of you. Yes, I have to say that because he has associated with us since from the beginning. When ASFI started the science seminar series, the monthly seminar series we had in 2021, he was a speaker at the 6th edition, and he spoke on the topic Art of Mentoring in Science and Research. And again, on the 14th edition, the same year, he was one of the speakers. There were two speakers in that occasion. He was one of the speakers. I spoke on leadership, science, and Africa's development, dissecting the imperatives. All these are on ASFI YouTube channel. You can go there and rewatch them. I think they are quite inspiring lectures to watch. He didn't stop there. From time to time, honestly, he sends me messages. And I don't think I have had anybody who has taken interest in what ASFI is doing than himself. He will write, "Hi, Bright, how are you doing? How is ASF? When can you have a few minutes to chat?" And they want us to talk. What do we talk about? To know how things are going. He has lots of wisdom. He has lots of strategies. He has lots of experiences working in Africa, not just in Africa, but he understands the hurdles even within the scientific sector in Africa. And I get lots of motivation and support from these encounters. So, very interestingly, the vision of ASFI and the vision of Art Foundation overlap, as I said before, very, very closely. And that really makes us to tango when we speak. He never says no whenever I reach out to him. And I appreciate him for that. So, Mr. Daniel, the floor is yours. I've made you a co-host, so you can easily speak. You can unmute yourself from your end and speak. I know I have taken 2 minutes into your time, but please be sure that I will stop you when your time expires. I know you will do justice within the time you have. Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. It's wonderful to have you again with us this afternoon. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Bright, and thank you very much for your kind words. And all I'm going to say about the introduction is that as Africans, we understand the challenges that we all face in, creating the commitment like the one that Bright has created. So apart from just attending your events, I think there's need for all of us to rally around each other to make sure that these babies that we have really succeed. So I want to share on a topic which I've titled that without integrity, Africa's science won't work. I want to say that again. Without integrity, Africa's science won't work. And I'm going to share some thoughts, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a teaching on integrity. And so we've always had interesting conversations with Bright because I'm a social scientist. He insists I'm a scientist. But I think there is all the hard science and the soft science conversation that I will not get into. But I want to say that I spent about probably 20 years working very closely with people in the hard science Africa, doing research in different areas. So I don't want to go into all the specific areas. But I also have been involved as a journalist. I also sat in many meetings discussing policy. I've visited many labs and research stations across the continent. You name it, I've probably visited it. And because of the work that I was doing. And one of the things that I would say, Africa does not suffer from a lack of good brains, clever people. I would even say that the way we define the challenges that we face in the science and innovation, I would say that it's the biggest problem for me is a crisis of leadership, and more specifically, a crisis of integrity. For many years, I worked in the agricultural sector, and one of the things that really baffled me was the amount of money and funding and experts that go into the agricultural sector. I'm just using the agricultural sector as an example. And then I would look at the results and I was like, that we can get more results than we are getting. And it was not for the lack of research, and it was not for the lack of talent. I met many amazing scientists that I was in awe of. Not the lack of money, because maybe things have changed a little bit now with all the changes globally and funding. At the time that I was involved in that area, there was a lot of money. I mean, like Bright has said, we had just got like a $21 million grant. I remember traveling every place enough. We had money, and many other projects have had money. But the question is, what are the results that you produce with this money? And I want to say that, to me, one of the biggest issues is the lack of integrity. So you have many African governments making promises and they don't keep those promises. You have many institutions making fantastic plans, often in big, beautiful documents, glossy documents, and they don't follow through. You have many donors announcing bold funding. And then when the push comes to shove, you find them, they are slowly withdrawing the terms of the agreements, and very little money actually comes into the research organizations in the African continent. You have many senior scientists, they overpromise and they underdeliver. And you also have young scientists who are full of potential, who are left to hustle, doing all kinds of things that scientists shouldn't be doing, but they have to have a livelihood. And when they can't even hustle, they find a way out of the continent. So when Bright asked me to speak, I said, I'm going to speak very plainly and very simply so that everybody gets what this is all about, at least from where I am. And I want to say again, without integrity, nothing works. Absolutely nothing. Not your life, not your research, whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't have integrity, it won't work. Now, I know that many scientists and many people and many Africans, when they hear the word integrity, they go straight into some religious definition or some moral, you're a bad person if you're out of integrity. But that's not what I mean. I mean integrity like the law of nature. Let me put it differently. Integrity as in gravity. So you don't have to require, you don't have to believe in gravity for it to work on you. So integrity is a law. So when integrity increases, workability increases. When integrity declines, workability declines. And when workability declines, performance declines. So what is integrity? So integrity is not about being perfect. It's not even about always keeping your word, because life happens. When someone like Bright has this big commitment in the world, there are many things that he's going to say, but he'll have to come and say, hey, you know what? This is what I promised, but it's not going to be that way. Okay. So when you're a man or a woman of integrity and you have a big commitment in the world, there are many times when you'll be out of integrity. So if you look at the logo of our foundation, it's a mountain. The reason why it's a mountain is because we think of integrity as a mountain without a top. Nobody ever gets to a place where you're a man or a woman of integrity all the time. It doesn't work. So integrity is really a matter of honoring your word. Integrity is being very rigorous in what comes out of your mouth. It's when you say you'll do something, and when you're not able to do it, you clean up and you take responsibility. I know we all come from African countries where politicians make humongous promises. And when they don't keep the promises, they don't do anything. They just keep moving like nothing happened. The out of integrity in our politics is part of our biggest challenge. It's absolutely no accountability. So that very simple shift from just the lip service to honoring commitment, it creates trust. People of integrity are a brand, especially in a continent where there is no lack of integrity. So people trust you. People can count on you. You build your credibility. And what's more, you unlock performance in your personal life and in whatever it is that you're up to. Without integrity, you'll find it in science, in politics, in every place. People are making excuses. They're giving explanations, that valid explanations. There's confusion, there's stagnation, there's all the stuff that undermines performance. Now, at the Africa Leadership Transformation Foundation, we've seen this again and again. Leadership only works when grounded in integrity. I'll give an example. At the end of my week, I look at the commitments that I had that week, and I look at where was I out of integrity? Who do I need to call? What did I promise that I would do and I didn't do? And I call people and I clean up my integrity. Now, this looks like a small act, but it's a very powerful act that transforms very many things. Sometimes when you call people, people tell you, no, it's okay, you don't need to call me. But the point is that I promised this, but I didn't meet it. So when you create a culture like that, you create a culture of productivity. So integrity is not about being good or being bad. It is really an unseen mechanism that ensures that productivity increases and people flourish. Now, let's do a bit of connection between integrity and ASFI. Now, the mission of ASFI is very bold, and it is, for me, it is deeply needed. That's why now and again I'll call Bright and find out how are things doing. Are you still focused on your mission? And ASFI's mission is to raise the next generation of African scientists with the right competencies to drive Africa's developmental and transformational agenda. Let me read it again, because maybe many of you have forgotten it or you've not read it recently. Is to raise the next generation of African scientists with the right competencies to drive Africa's developmental and transformational agenda. Now, I don't know about you, but this gives me goosebumps. This is huge stuff. This is powerful. Imagine if we could just realize this. Even if we are not there, our great-grandchildren, they'll be happy that there was a human being like Bright. They'll be happy that there was a human being like all of you who are here. They'll be like, wow, those guys took care of us. They held a space that we could get the right competencies. We could transform our continent. So this is big, but I want to tell you this. Competency without integrity is capacity without consequence. I want to say that again. Competency without integrity. There are many scientists who are competent, but they have no integrity. There are many politicians who are competent, but they have no integrity. It's like having capacity, but you have no consequences. There is no accountability for your own life. There is no accountability to anyone. You can be brilliant and ineffective. I've met extremely brilliant scientists, but when you look at what they're doing, it's ineffective. Very bright, but ineffective. You can actually publish papers, tons of them, and be still irrelevant. I'm sure each of you can give me probably 4 or 5 scientists that you know that have published papers but really changed our society. So to drive true transformation, which is what Bright talks about, and which is also what we talk about, to drive true transformation, African science doesn't just need a better infrastructure. And I'm not saying that these things don't matter, they matter. But it needs scientists who are their word. And I think this conversation is not in the scientific domain. We need scientists who are their word. We need institutions that honor their commitment. We need donors and governments that show up fully, even when it is hard. This, to me, is what is missing. And that's why I'm very, very proud to join, because building the next generation of scientists is not only going to be about technical training, it's also going to be about character. When you're a member of ASFI and there's a meeting that has been called, you be here, but you're not here. You promised to be here on time, but you're not on time. Now, that doesn't seem like a big deal. But when people keep time, get the commitment, you'll be surprised that we are 5 years today. But in 10 years, we could the next 5 years could look like 50 years because the integrity moved a whole new level. So we have to build leaders who can be trusted. We have to build science ecosystems where there is truth telling, where there is accountability, where you're not fudging data, where there is wholeness, and being a man or a woman of integrity is the norm. So here is what I want to leave you with. What if integrity became your core methodology? What if integrity became your peer review standard? What if integrity is the unseen principle behind every hypothesis, behind every collaboration, behind every funding agreement, behind every mentorship? Because when integrity is present, trust becomes possible. And when trust becomes possible, everything becomes possible. So I want to end with a story. Many years ago, I was working for a certain organization, and I was working in South Africa. So I remember discovering that there was something that had gone wrong with some aspect of some fund that had been provided to that organization. And I went and spoke to the CEO and the finance person, and there was pin drop silence. And it seems like I was alone. It was not my business at all. In actual fact, I was the director of communication. But my interest in it was, what if this thing becomes public knowledge? How are we going to handle it? So eventually I left, and a couple of months later, I got a call by the leadership of the organization was, you know what you are saying is right. And because you seem very interested in this thing, can you help us to clean the mess? And I said, no problem. I'll help you to clean the mess. But here's the condition. We are not going to hide anything behind the rugs. We have to be truthful. We have to have full integrity on it. And I was promised to have full integrity. When I had everything, every data and every information on the issue, I then flew to where the donor was, and after organizing a meeting, and I went and shared what the issues were. One of the people smiled and said, you know, we guessed there was something going, but what we were waiting for was for explanations, justifications, and hiding things. And we are surprised that you have come out so vulnerably, so openly. And to cut a long story short, that donor funded us in that organization every single year from that moment. Until, and I don't want to say it's a personal thing, but until I left the organization, the funding stopped. So this is very, very impactful in terms of integrity. There are so many things. If you looked at your personal life and thought about the cost of integrity on your life, you probably would be shocked what the cost is. So I want to leave you with those thoughts. And right, if I have 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to go briefly into to do a different kind of presentation, just to buttress the issue of what integrity looks like.
Yeah, you have up to 10 minutes. You have up to 10 minutes.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to okay, I'm sure that everyone can see the slide.
Yes, we can. We can.
Yeah. Okay. So as I've said before, let's see. Some of it. So I've said before, the vision of our foundation is transforming leadership as a key to an Africa that works for everyone. So we focus on transforming leadership. Transforming leadership is very specific to looking at things like integrity, like I've said. And I think Bright had talked about our mission. And what I'm going to share now, I just want to acknowledge that this is not really my original work. This is an organization that the work is now housed at the Foundation for Ontological Leadership. It's a US-based organization, and they offer a course called Being a Leader. I was involved in the past in bringing the Being a Leader and the effective exercise of leadership. It's an accredited program. It's in many universities. So I'm using their work. So I just wanted to acknowledge that upfront. And I'm going to focus a little bit on the model of leadership that they use. So they look at leadership like a house, but I'm interested in the foundational aspects, the foundation. And in the foundation, there are 4 areas of leadership. One is integrity. The other one is having something bigger than yourself, like what Bright is doing. Bright has created ASFI as something much bigger than him. Very, and the other issue is being cause in the matter. And I won't go into all that. I want to just focus on integrity. Now, so these are the 4 areas, but I want to again focus on integrity. And integrity means being a person who is, your word is whole and complete. So it focuses very much on what comes out of your mouth. Okay. Now, integrity is about honoring your word. And when you become aware, you won't keep it. And keep it on time. You then say to everyone who is impacted, you tell them that I will not be keeping my word, or I will not be keeping my word within the agreed time, or I will be keeping my word in the future. And by when? So you will not be keeping the word, or you will not be keeping the word at all. Then you're a man or woman of integrity. So if I promise you that, hey, you know what, I say that I'm going to give you $200 by the end of July. And then I realized that on the 15th of July, not on the 30th of July, that I won't be able to give you the money. I say, you know what, I promised this, but I will not be giving you the money. I could say, I will never give you that money. I can say, well, you know what, I can give you the money, but at the end of August. So you're really managing your integrity with the word that you've put out there. That's really at the core of what integrity is. So integrity is a state of being whole and complete, And when integrity declines, workability declines. And workability declines, performance declines. I want you to think of integrity as a bicycle and the spokes of the bicycle. So if 2 or 3 of the spokes are not working, that means the bicycle is out of integrity. So its workability declines and its performance declines. So when your word is out of kilter, so to speak, workability declines and performance declines. So as we said earlier, violating the law of integrity has consequences, just like violating the law of gravity. The only difference is that these things are not seen. But if you open your eyes and saw the cost of violating the law of integrity, you would be shocked. And you would realize that without integrity, nothing works. So when you're a man or a woman of integrity, you're very rigorous in the promises that you keep, and rather in the promises that you give, because there's no need of giving promises that you don't intend to keep, because that has a cost on you. So integrity shows up, especially in Africa, as being late or being unprepared for meetings, or when you are in a meeting, like I've seen in many science meetings, people are answering their emails, people are on WhatsApp, people are doing totally out of integrity. You don't return calls, cheating in exams, sex for marks, all those things are really issues of out of integrity. And that's why we are in our beautiful continent. So when you operate from out of integrity, in a place of integrity, you have peace with yourself. You don't have to look behind. You don't have to expect, you can actually function from a place of peace. So you don't live with fear of selfhood. You're not waiting for somebody to discover something that you did, there's no need to defend yourself, and you're open to learning. So integrity takes courage to pursue what is right. bet that those of you who are listening to me and take this message to heart, not to your head, you'll find that your personal life is going to change for the better. And the commitments you have made will witness phenomenal performance. Your communities, your stakeholders will be shocked by what has happened, because you're getting back to people and telling them, you know what, this is what they said. You don't need to get back to me. It's okay, because people have normalized out of integrity behavior. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Dunn. Thank you so much. That was a very insightful presentation. I mean, very insightful. Like Professor Bright mentioned, you are not just a mentor to Dr. Bright, you're a mentor to everyone here, including myself. Thank you so much. For those who are just joining, this is ASFI at 5, celebrating. I'm excited to be here. I also hope you are excited. We have a lot of things packaged for you as we progress. At this point, I'm going to bring up an expert, an African expert, Dr. Patricia Nkwatenye. Are you able to hear me, Dr. Patricia?
Yes, doctor. I can hear you.
Okay, I received the doctor prophecy by faith. So I'm going to give you 20 to 25 minutes to do a sort of summary. Let's have some reflection. Yeah, some reflection and take home from what Dr. Daniel has also presented. So Dr. Patricia is the VP for ASFI General Assembly. I will be listening to her to give us some reflection. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our beloved anchor. It is my privilege to be given this opportunity to reflect on the keynote speaker's words on integrity and science leadership. In fact, we are very grateful. And I want to say that the keynote is not just compelling, but very timely. In fact, it serves as a wake-up call to all of us, because there are things we do, very little things, and we brush them aside as if they don't matter. But from what we have listened to, we know that they really matter, and they go a long way to make or mar us and the work we are doing. The keynote speech has really resonated well with me, because I feel so guilty right now, because I've done a self-reflection and I've seen that I've broken my integrity in so many ways. So this is a wake-up call for us who are being molded as the people who are going to drive the transformational and developmental agenda of Africa. We need to clean up our mess. We need to turn on a new page. And I was very happy. Sir Daniel's focus is on, without integrity, nothing works. Without integrity, nothing works. We may be intelligent, we may be resourceful, we may be whatever, but a breakdown in integrity is going to ruin all our work, and we'll find Africa standing on the same spot or even moving backwards instead of forwards. So the key things that I gathered from the keynote speech, number one, without integrity, African science won't work. So we are the engineers. We are the ones to make things work. So let us clean up our messes. Let us do self-inspection, and let us repent of our bad habits. Those little things we do, we are supposed to be models to our students. We're supposed to be those from whom our different governments will learn, take advice. But if we're not people of integrity, nothing will work. Our efforts will be in vain. So I think it is a wake-up call. And then Again, he has told us that Africa is rich. He's a man of many caps. He's multidimensional. He's a communicator. He's mixed with people in literally all fields of life. And he's come to realize that Africa has got good brains, intelligent people, experts, people with talents. What are we doing with this? It is time to harness all of this, put in that integrity, and make Africa move. Again, he also said, another thing I gathered from what he said, that we overpromise, but underdeliver. That our words are what define us. Let our yes be yes. And if we say yes, and we cannot live up to it, it is very normal to go back and make adjustments and let the people on the other side know. And then when you walk in integrity, you find peace with yourself. As I said, this keynote speech has resonated a lot with me because there's an assignment I was given by Prof. I have over-delayed. I've looked for reasons to convince myself that it's all right. But the truth is, I don't have peace. Each time I sleep, I'm thinking about it. What do I do? What do I tell Prof? How do I get back to it? So I think this is a wake-up call to me personally. I'm somebody who joined ASFI without direction. I was lost. I had never had anybody to mentor me. When I came to this platform, which I call it a miracle platform, I began to see things in a different world. I found that mentor, that person to direct me, to tell me what to do. And I want to say that when I came into academia 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, I didn't bargain for this. I didn't know what to do. I was completely lost. But Prof. Bright showed us the way. He's a man of integrity. He's there. You write to him. We are so many of us, hundreds of us following him. But each time I write to him privately, he responds. He gives me advice. He's like that guardian angel. And that is what takes away my peace when I don't do what I'm supposed to do on my path. And I believe if we have consciences, we'll all say that this keynote speech is a wake-up call to all of us. Let us wake up, because without integrity, all the work we are doing is nothing. We have to be examples. We have to be the ones to show the way. We have to be the ones to advise our governments. We have to be the ones to take this continent from where it is. He gave us this example. He was in an institution. Nothing was working. Things were failing because integrity was missing. And when he was called, or when he pointed it out, and they asked him, they were humble enough to ask him what to do. He told them, he advised them, and things changed. And that institution started receiving fundings. That means that if we also can go back and self-reflect and listen to take this advice is giving us, things will also turn around, not only for our good as individuals, but for the good of our nations and for the good of our great continents. So I want to thank the keynote speaker. You have jolted us from sleep. And those of us who have been practicing misconduct as scientists, falsifying data, making students pay for the work we are being paid to do, it is time to stop. Academics, research can pay. Let us not do it. Let us not get paid through the dubious means. Let us work with integrity, and we shall never regret it. That said, I want to join Prof. Nwaru and all ASFI members to say a big thank you to Sir Daniel Kamanga. We are grateful that you came. We are grateful for waking up us from slumber. And on behalf of the others, we want to promise you that we are going to change. We're going to be men and women of integrity. And together with Prof. Nwaru, we're going to move Africa from its present state to a better state where things will work, where people will start coming to us to ask what our secret is. Thank you very much. We are most grateful. Thank you.